the best brands can pay more to acquire customers. They're not focused on driving down CAC necessarily, but they all have is they have one element of greatness. Really great gross margin, whether it's really great repurchase rate, really great average order value. Like these kind of things is where the best brands can justify these higher CACs. And what I actually see it as a reflection of is like focus.
Patrick, CEO and co-founder of AMP. Man, we really appreciate getting you on here and you making the time. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
You know, I've been digging into this mega report that you guys have put together here recently. I think it's like something like $10 billion in evaluation and millions of customers. I think what really stood out to me, and we'll bring it up here, but what really stood out to me is that I'm always thinking, every business that I've been involved with, how can I get my CAC lower? That's always the fight. But I think what this report brings out and why we should get into it is because I think really the bigger issue is not the CAC side, it's the LTV. It's getting people back inside, back to the website and buying more. Is that a takeaway from you from this big study you guys have put together?
Yeah, in my mind, there are actually two separate takeaways. So one is, there's always been this focus on driving down CAC. I think that what this report shows is the best brands can pay more to acquire customers. So like when I read the report, because obviously the report, we quote unquote wrote it, but it's not editorial, right? It's the output of the analysis. So I read it the same as everybody else, right? So I think I saw it when it was done. Like I didn't see it.
Exactly.
So I think the first thing there would be on the CAC side. My takeaway there is the merchants. One, they're not focused on driving down CAC necessarily, but one thing that I think they all have is they have one element of greatness in their business, right? So as opposed to having mid CAC, mid contribution margin, mid LTV, the brands that we see are most profitable do have higher CAC. And what we normally see there is they're making where they have an element of greatness in their business, whether it's really great gross margin, whether it's really great repurchase rate, whether it is really great average order value. Like these kind of things is where the best brands can justify these higher CACs. And what I actually see it as a reflection of is like focus. LTV in a weird way is probably like, let's talk about it more from a holistic commerce perspective. People have been selling things to one another forever. And then we can talk more about the tactical implementation. So I think LTV is often, it's a very misused term in commerce. Like we often use it in the context of a conversion rate perspective, the average order value, the repurchase rate. But I suppose it's not like Nike didn't care about LTV in the 90s or the 80s just because they didn't have a subscription widget, right? Yeah, like they always cared. Pepsi cared about LTV. Even if we look in the modern era, like James Purse has a $7,500 surfboard on their website. They have a couch on their website, a sunbed on their website that you can't buy without contacting them via email, limited edition. At .com. It's not like those brands don't care about LTV because they're not trying to hook you into like a subscription, right? That would be the first thing I think about. Like LTV is, what is the product, the brand, like real brand. Like if you think about what is the LTV of a brand like Dockman or Birkenstock, and then how customers feel when they actually get your product. But I think whether it's the CAC piece in this report or the LTV piece in this report, and then obviously I'm speaking to merchants all the time as well, I think what this shows us is one, focus. Like the merchants are focused on, as I said before, not having mid CAC and mid margin and mid LTV. They're focused on keeping the main thing. There's a Warren Buffett quote that I think gets misused a lot, and I'm probably going to misuse it a little bit now. But it's talking about people's the most successful people he knows say no to most things, or like write out the 25 most important things to you and like circle the top 5 and cross out the bottom 20. That's what I see in this CAC and LTV number. It's the brands going, hey, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to acquire customers. We're trying to acquire them profitably. I think it also shows, but whether it's the CAC piece and the LTV piece, is all of these brands, that the most profitable brands have one element of greatness in their business, right? Their own distribution, because they've got a YouTube channel with millions of subscribers. They've got a product with a crazy high gross margin and very low shipping costs. Like Sean from Ridge has talked about the rings, right? How much does it cost to ship a ring?
Exactly.
What is the gross? He's talked about the gross margin on those rings publicly as well. So you can just back up if you're selling a $200 ring with sub 500 grams shipping costs with a 95% gross margin, you can back up the truck on acquiring customers. And then the third thing I would say is they've got a real culture of experimentation around LTV. And what do I mean by experiment? I mean, you say, hey, here's what you're measuring, the baseline, and you're not saying, hey, let's try and drive LTV, and any LTV we drive is good. Is you're thinking about, hey, well, let's take this, let's start really small. Let's take this specific cohort of customers that bought this specific product and get them to buy something else. You have a hypothesis. It's a muscle that you build up over time. And I think, to bring it back to the Warren Buffett quote, it's either a top 3 thing or a top 5 thing, or it's not going to move. And that's the decision of the brand. But if it's not somebody's key KPI, it's just not going to happen. If there's not a unified way where it's tracked across the business, it's not going to move.
What I have found in my conversations with founders and marketers is that working on LTV is a little more amorphous. And it's so easy to focus tactically, tangibly on the CAC piece. How can I get better ads with better clicks?
You get such great feedback loops, right?
You're doing
like minute by minute. You can just be hitting refresh on that dashboard. You can check. You go to the bathroom, you finish washing your hands, you check, you
get feedback.
Check your phone. You're like, the dopamine is insane.
Exactly. It's like adult video games. I can put this thing out into the world. I can iterate it. I get instant feedback, and then I can keep iterating from there. But this LTV piece, it's a little more amorphous. The first thing that always comes to my mind is, okay, well, we got to send more emails and send better emails, because we got about a 60-day window. If we don't get them back in 60 days, then we're in trouble. Maybe extend it out to 90.
Yeah.
But I think the larger question that I have seen for a lot of brands is, it's not just, hey, how can I get in touch with them and bring them back? What kind of offers can I use? It's, do I have something in the first place that they want other than what they've already bought? And so on this merchandising side, in addition to like what you brought up on the operations with shipping and all those costs, et cetera, have you built out enough inside of the catalog to bring those people back such that they want to spend more dollars with you? Was that first purchase winsome enough experience in the first place?
And maybe this is where I can talk a little bit more about what we're doing with our brands at the moment, just because, as you say, everybody knows Lifetimely, everybody uses it. And they know us for that, and they maybe don't know what are some of the other things we do. But I think even that, you're talking about sending offers via email, which is, of course, what we all have to do, and a great way of dialing in LTV. But I think it's also just about shifting the context as well. And like, the context we have is what they purchased originally. We might know something about them, but it's like, is there a gifting angle, or is there a complementary product? Is there a signal we can get from their first purchase that might give us an angle? It's not like anybody is running Facebook ads just off offers, right? We've got an angle, right? And we've got to do the same for driving LTV. I think for setting up lifetime customer value, retention happens as soon as they hit their website. Like, does the brand empathize with them? Is this something that does it give them a lifestyle outcome? Like, is it something, hey, I buy this, I aspire to be like this purchase gets me closer to there? But I do think that's interesting, is one of the things the brands are doing. So everybody knows us for Lifetimely. We also have cart, post-purchase, bundle,
upsell,
all of these, upsell, all of these profit surfaces, right? So there's all these surfaces on the website that, are ways that merchants interface with their customers. And we can do, you can do loads of things to generate more profit through those surfaces. You have free shipping thresholds. You do upsells based on purchase, based on what they have in their basket already. You do a post-purchase upsell that's maybe not that hard to bite off, right? Like you're not trying to post-purchase upsell a $1,700 smoker. I think what we're seeing brands do, like what we're helping brands with now, is like, one is that let's say that whole merchandising process, right? How does it work now? Somebody does some analysis, right? They look at what SKUs are being purchased, what the LTV is, like maybe set up some SKUs that have higher repurchase rate, or set up some SKUs that have people who have bought those SKUs are more likely to come back and purchase in the future. They're what we would call an LTV driver or a hero product. So they go in and they do some analysis, right? Here's the SKUs I think we should sell that's going to drive more upselling or more offer acceptance on the side. And then you go through and you set them up, and you set them up in the cart product. And then you go back into Shopify admin and you search for your post-purchase app, and then you go set it in there. And then that was all quite a lot of work. And the person who does that probably does a few other jobs as well.
Yeah.
And, there's crises in our business every day. So they probably then don't go back and like check that how it's working that well. Or they get the dopamine hit originally, they go on to the next thing. And then it gets even worse, right? Because we launch new SKUs. And how good are we all? Like, let's be honest, at then updating the cart and the post-purchase, like with all the new SKUs that we've added, and it just decays over time. Somebody then updates the theme, the button of the cart doesn't match the theme, like it just decays all the time. And so essentially what we built at AMP is 2 agents within Lifetimely. One that figures out based on all of the data you have, including all of the conversion rate data of the offers in the cart and the post-purchase, but like, is it a returning customer versus a first-time customer? Hey, do we want to make sure if somebody doesn't have an LTV driver in their cart, should we orient on selling an LTV driver? Basically, does the analysis, what upsell should you show when, and isn't constrained by, hey, I can realistically send up 12 manual workflows. I can't set up 700 different products. Where the AI can, right? We can set up 10,000 different workflows, and then actually does the implementation, sets it up in the cart, sets it up post-purchase, tests it over time, and then as you add new products, they get added in according to your guardrails over time.
This is what excites me about this new era of e-commerce, and I know there's non-excitement too. There's worry about this new era of e-commerce. Right? Is half of everybody going to lose their job and have to find another way? But what excites me is that I see this just as what you described. I see it as an empowerment of what I fondly refer to as the one-man brand or the one-man marketing team. Constrained, lean teams are going to be able to do more with that process, that AI help, something that actually helps me drive a profit. I think right now there's a few things that I've experienced in the past when we wanted to execute inside of a brand, all the things that you just described. We would need to go and hire a big brain marketer with much larger business experience, merchandising, workflows, tracking of inventory, etc. Bring him inside, and then he is doing all of those things manually, and he kind of sits inside the business as a savant who always knows the things and what we're optimizing to drive more profit. Secondly, right now, a lot of our focus inside of the industry in implementing AI is on it's on creative for ads,
which is awesome,
which is very cool. And it's also on, hey, I can use Claude. I can use OpenClaw to now serve as my personal assistant, and they do a lot of things for me that I didn't want to do, and it helps me in that way. But this other piece, I think, is the really more helpful part, in that I've got agents, I've got AI living inside of my business that is tracking, that is working, it's bringing updates to me, and it's also implementing all of these various tests for the new products that we've launched and finding incremental dollars for me all the way down the line. That to me is what's really exciting about this new era of e-commerce. And it seems like you guys are doing that inside of your business.
Yeah, I think, the two agents right now doing the analysis, what should the upsell be? Just doing labor that was not possible before, right? You couldn't have somebody setting up 700 different flows. That wasn't technically, there was no solution that was like, hey, I'm going to consider what offers we've already shown in the cart to what offer we should show post-purchase. I'll know that, like, the post-purchase knows whether it's a new customer or returning customer and what they bought before, and we'll show an offer based on that. So I think it's really exciting. I think, one, we do want to see, as an industry, as e-commerce, we do want to see all of this AI lead to increased productivity as measured by profit, right? Like, that's the name of the game. And I think we're getting started, right? I think the other big area of AI is we just saw Meta's earnings and they're up. This is an AI that we in commerce use. Like, we don't get to use the AI that decides what people should see, what ads, but it's working.
It's working.
That's a big part. That's a big part of what we use. And then, we think that, and again, if we can just get, like the report showed, you want brands that you could have a 10% reduction in CAC or a 10% increase in LTV. And it's like the ones with the higher LTV, 2.3 times more profitable. I mean,
it's significant, to say the least.
Purchase, you've got to sell them the products that's going to get them amped up to come back, right?
It's an endeavor in the era of rising ad costs that I think will only continue. This era
in that regard, what do you think about this? I listen to the show a lot. I don't get to listen to every episode. I got a 4-month-old daughter.
All right, good on you, Patrick. Congrats.
20,000 customers that I look after. But what do you think about this ChatGPT? I'm sure you've covered it.
Oh boy, I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I think you may be more optimistic than I am. I don't like it. And I'll tell you why. Here's why I don't like it. I don't like what they're rolling out ads in terms of ads. Why? Because number one, they're giving me very little controls whatsoever.
Wait. Sorry. I mean the 4% Shopify checkout thing, not necessarily the $60 CPM.
You know, thing. I'm split. I'm split too. I'm split because in my mind, for somebody to get inside of ChatGPT and go down that route, and then eventually they can instant checkout there. Probably what's already happened is I've already advertised to them on other platforms. My guess. That's my guess.
Yeah.
And then they get inside of chat, and there's this great native shopping experience. Okay, that's really cool. Sam wants to take his cut. Kind of didn't want that, but okay, I get it. And then I think on the other side here, you probably have something to say on this. I don't think I get any opportunity for upsells or, slide in your cart or, there's some limitation on that side. And so at the end of the day, I think I'd rather have them on my website.
It's interesting, right? So firstly, is it incremental or not? Like, is it somebody who they're already in your funnel, you're already paying to retarget them on Meta? Obviously, that's not good. And there will be a bunch of that, right? So there's going to be a gang of that in there. I think before we even get into the specifics around like the merchandising or whatever, it's like, are they your customer or ChatGPT customer? If we've got Amazon, it's Amazon's customer. You don't get their email. You don't get, and Shopify is the other end. ChatGPT, this checkout experience, because let's say I mentioned we've got the baby yesterday. We bought a high chair, right?
Yeah.
Wife goes to ChatGPT. What's the best high chair? Blah, blah, blah. I thought just the same one that's in every Airbnb in the world would be fine. But no, if we love the baby, we're going to buy this one according to ChatGPT.
That's right.
And what's interesting is it takes what could have been like a longer consideration period. Like if ChatGPT says, "Hey, this is the $3,000 cot you need," like that's it. It's on.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's interesting. But let's say, so we bought this high chair from this really nice baby brand, and I'm sure the brand is wonderful and beautiful. But for the next purchase, we're going to go back to ChatGPT again, right? Like we're not going to the brand again. So
That's
like, where is it? Like, sure, they get my email, they get to target me, whatever, but it is interesting. And then I think you don't get to sell your hero product, your LTV driver. Like you're just selling whatever ChatGPT wants you to sell. And we all have SKUs, right? We all have dead stock. We all have products that we know are more adjacent to the mission than like our mission critical ones. There's no upselling. So yeah, the brands can take the 4%, provided it's not like 100% of the people who are in the funnel are going to buy anyway. I personally don't think that is true. I think, or said differently, who cares, right? How many people do we advertise to on Facebook that were going to buy from us anyway? Like a lot, if you think about everybody that was just on their phone, like a lot of, we don't want to get too far into that. I was just looking on something online just before this. I stopped because we had this appointment.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm going to see an ad. They're going to pay to target me on Facebook. The advertising engine will kick in and then start showing me all of their competitors' ads as well.
It'll happen again. Yeah.
I bought like 6 wetsuits from this company. Like I'm probably good to go on the wetsuit. So I don't think that's like a huge one, but I think it's interesting. I think the balance of, is it your customer, is it their customer? I think the whole idea that they could potentially accelerate consideration,
that's nice,
sales cycles for higher ticket items is interesting.
It is,
compared to it being like a 3-month consideration period. But yeah, I don't know. Whose customer is it? I think it'd be great though. And I would turn it on immediately if I was a brand, of course. So I suppose that's what it really comes. It's not like you're like calling brands being like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, no. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all looking for arbitrage, right? I mean, we're all looking for opportunities and edges that we can find. And this is an exciting new one. It's a shiny new toy that I think could yield tremendous results for the right kind of brands. I don't know if somebody goes through that experience with chat. I would imagine I get the information. I would imagine I can retarget, I can email, I can do all those things.
Well, it's interesting though, because if they're checking out in ChatGPT, I think you'll struggle to retarget on Instagram, on Meta properties. I think you'll get their email though. But then if you can get them to click on something, you can retarget them. I think they're going to make so much revenue though. I was looking at resorts recently, and it was so funny because you can just tell. I think they're thinking about e-commerce a lot less than we all think they are.
Yeah. Because, well, I think everybody's thinking about it too little. I wish they'd think about it more.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Me too. I'm in there with you, dude. Don't worry about it. But what I was actually going to say is I was looking at resorts the other day, and all of the ChatGPT links linked to the resort's website, and Booking.com has been like the largest Google advertiser in the world, like many quarters and many years. I'm like, as soon as they turn this on, like, the expression at Google they have is like large customer sales, LCS. That's what they call customers who can pay more than $100 million per year.
Wow.
And like that includes like Kia, and there's all sorts of just companies that will easily do that. Like in Asia Pacific alone, Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, whatever, there are 150 brands that spend over 100 million on Google alone a year. Like Booking.com is going to back up the truck on this thing when they can, and Expedia and all the rest.
Well, I wish they were thinking about us a little more on the e-commerce side.
I'm sure they are. I just think it's gonna rip.
It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how their ad product develops over the next year.
Yeah,
I know. I've just because of news over the past few days, they're also going to try and release a social network option that would compete with Meta and other, all the other players in our game. So, I mean, it seems like they are trying to do battle on all sides. They're trying to dominate search. They're trying to dominate social network next. They're trying to open up this path for advertising. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out over the next 12 months.
Absolutely.
Patrick, we really appreciate you joining us. I would love just any more of your thoughts before you go. I'd love more of what you have on AI, because I know it's always rolling around there in your brain, and how we can leverage it to actually make more dollars. It's fun to play with, but at the end of the day, we're all looking to drive an extra buck so that we can pay our mortgages and buy the grocery bills and not just have a big stack of credit card points.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think to bring it back to the main thing around focus, I think the merchandising on the site, the lifetimely offer agent just rips. Also, all of our surfaces, cart, post-purchase, whatever, they're actually all free for lifetime customers. So
seriously,
that would be like a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer.
So if you want to save like I don't know, however much you're spending on whatever you're using for those, and you already use lifetime. Like some of our customers have 4 years of data and stuff in there, right? We just turn it on, it does rip. I think the second thing, just actually picking LTV as a top 3 focus, using lifetimely, drive some experience. Use whatever you want. Use a spreadsheet. Use the click-through rate on a Klaviyo email. Just do something.
Use 7.
And then I think the third thing, what I'm actually really excited about, I'd say lifetimely has been built for really hardcore, really smart, really dialed in commerce operators. The people who are like, I want to see this Klaviyo segment, I want to see this Facebook campaign, I want to see the repurchase rate of this. And what I'd actually love, or what we're working on now, is just lifetimely proactively telling you. Okay, imagine you have the really smart people in our industry, just, like what they know to ask, it going like, hey,
you should be asking this. Here's this information.
Or here, this cohort is garbage. We've got to stop. We've got to derank this product.
I love
We've got to stop advertising this product. We've got to, hey, this cohort of customers, it looks like you think you're profitable when shipping overseas, but you're not. This is no good. So I think that's what I'm excited to work on next.
Well, that kind of
30 days.
30 days?
Yeah, I'm calling it 4th of
March. Wow. 4th of March. Man. And now it's here on the show. We're going to have to check back in. I'm
assuming somebody at my team will listen to this. So
they just heard it now.
This isn't for the audience. This is an internal announcement. I was going to have all hands later. Now let's skip it.
Internal memo has been announced. Well,
people are working on it already. We've got an initial version out. I think it's really, the models are getting so much better. It's crazy the progress has been made in the last 6.5 months, I would say.
And this to me is so exciting because it is turning something that is a bit amorphous, a goal that we all have, but hard to get your hands around on in a short, tactile, practical way. And it's bringing that into a profit center. Hey, here's proactive. Hey, here's what I see. Change this, try this, stop sending there, dump this product. It's a loser. That's exactly the kind of help that we need from AI. We need those eyes and that analysis happening all the time so that we can be making more money while we sleep. So I think that's really exciting.
If we think we've all launched new products and say driven advertising dollars behind them, and maybe a few months later we realize the returns rate is no good, the repurchase rate of those customers is no good. What if we could figure that out a lot faster? But it might rip, it might be like, it might have really low CAC. It may happens to everybody, and we just want to recommend being able to actually do more actionable recommendations and drive profit. Or let's not wait till somebody realizes the question they have to ask, because we have all the data.
Exactly.
The agent can recommend it.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Not having to wait until I think, let me prompt this and ask this question. That's exactly what we all need.
Exactly. We're going to do it in Slack too.
You're doing it in Slack?
Your human employees work for you in Slack. We think your artificial employees should as well.
I like that. That's right. That's great. All right, 30 days. Well, we got to do a check-in. Patrick, we appreciate you making the time and coming on the show, my friend. And we look forward to having you back again.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.